Okay, I'm gonna try something a little bit different this time. Instead of doing my normal thing, making a video on whatever the hell I'm trying to make, this week, I think this time I'm just gonna walk you through my thought process, and you'll have to tell me if it works a little bit better for you guys in the comment section, or whether I should go back to the original way that I was doing it. But I think this would provide a more in-depth guide to explaining, the process that I go through whenever I'm building anything. All right. So today we're going to be building a light switch cover. So before we get started, there's a couple things that I need, right? That you'll need. One being a calculator, because there's a lot of math involved. Two, you're going to need a conversion table from inches to millimeters, since at least for me, I don't know if it works for all 3D printers, but my 3D printer is in millimeters. I think mainly all of them are. And you'll also need a diagram or a blueprint of whatever you're trying to build. For this time around, obviously, it's a light switch. So where I like to start first is anytime I have a blueprint like this that needs to be converted, all these measurements, and go ahead and convert them. Get you a little pen pad, or bring up let's see, like a notepad. All right, I'm gonna bring us up a little notepad. I know it kind of looks all jumbled. There's a lot of things going on the screen, but we need to stay. By doing it all at once, it prevents us from having to jump back and forth between measuring and drawing and trying to figure out, all the numbers all at once. Okay, so we're just going to get all of our measurements done. We're going to start with the biggest measurement, which is 4.5 inches. We'll go to the next one, which will be the 2 3/4. And we'll just keep going down. And going 3/8. What's our next measurement? 1 inch. We got 3/8. And then we have 3/16. Right? I do believe that's all of them. If not, I'll go back and redraw it. Anyway, so now we need, since we have all the measurements now, we need to start converting these inches into millimeters, which is, once you have your converter pulled up on the internet, it's super easy. You just type it into the inches. You can even type it in just like it's written in the notepad. 4.5 is equal to 114.3. And you just keep on going down. Let's see. 2 3/4 is 69. Waka Waka, 85. 2 3/8 is 60. 0.325. 1 inch is equal to. Sorry if you hear noise in the background. My daughters are crazy. 3/8. It's 9.525. Blurp. And then I think 3/16 will be exactly 1/2 of that, which is craziness is what it is. All right. Now that we have all of our measurements down, we can let's picture back up. Why did I bring out the calculator again? We're gonna need it later. All right. We'll pull these out of the way real quick. So now that all of our measurements are done, we can actually start drawing stuff out. Currently, I am using Fusion 360 for all my CAD designs. I do not have the premium version of it. This is just the standard. It's free for a year, I believe. I'm waiting for it to go on sale again, so hopefully I can get the 3 years, but it's pretty expensive to buy 3 years of Fusion 360. At least for somebody who's doing this as a hobby and not making any money on it. Okay, anyway, first thing we're gonna do is we're gonna create a sketch. All right, build the top view. And I guess I should also mention that even though this is a free version and you can use it for a year, you're able to save up to 10 projects at a time. And this works out for me because usually when I get done with a project, I just go ahead and send it to the printer and save it as a G code and STL, and then I, upload it to Thingiverse for you guys. So anyway, here we go. Now that we're looking at the top view, which even if you're not using Fusion 360, a lot of these CAD programs work the same. You have a box on the side, you're able to swap between which view you want to look at, like so. And there's also, on most of them that I've seen, there's also a sketch that you can do. Anyway, now that we're creating a sketch, we need to select which plane we're going to work on. Notice how all the grids ran away on you. And we're going to just start with a rectangle, right? Start from the center and start making a box, and you're going to get 2 dimensions pop up. As you can see, the dimensions get larger as you're moving the other end around. So we're not going to click yet. What we're going to do, remember our little picture that we have here. We're going to do the outside box, 4.5 by 2 3/4. All right. So we're going to draw out the square for that. And if you also notice, we've already got our dimensions. It's going to be 114.3 by 69.85. So, you're not going to let me do it. Make another one, screw it. All right. So the width is 69 giggity by 114.3. 69.85. Double check, triple check, do everything that you need to make sure you got your correct dimensions. Cool. Here we go. I guess it's okay to note that these numbers are also somewhat interchangeable, okay? Because if you know anything about the light switch covers, they're covering a hole that's quite a bit, or they should be, covering a hole that's quite a bit smaller than the hole that was drilled into your wall in order to run all your electrical through. So there is a little bit of playroom. I wouldn't go too crazy and make this super small, because it won't cover up the hole for your electrical stuff. But yeah, and you can make it as big as you want, because as long as nothing's in the way, like a frame for your door and stuff like that. And it's going to be different depending on what your room looks like, what your setup looks like. But for now, we're just going to stick with the standard 69.85 by 114.30. All right. Now that we have this, I like to find the center of whatever I'm working on. If you notice, as I'm dragging this line tool up here along at the top, you'll see a triangle pop up. That's indicating that it's the center of your design. Bing, draw it all the way down to the center, to the bottom. It'll also show up as a triangle on the bottom, just like here. Boop, triangle, Bow. All right. These lines are going to be removed later, but at least I know where the light switch needs to be, right? The light switch, ta-da, is 1 inch by 3/8 inch. So that's the next thing that we're going to need to find the, draw out. One of the issues that I'm running across here, and I'm sure there's probably 10,000 ways to do it, but you can't really say, hey, I want like 1 inch going down. It just, I don't know. So what we're going to do is we're going to start, let's find half that 1 inch. Since we know this is center, we need to find whatever ½ inch is. All right. Since we don't have ½ inch, we're going to make another designation for ½ inch. It's equal to, remember we have to pull up our converter, 12.7. I seriously hope doing it this way is less confusing than the way I have been doing it. Like I said, if it is more confusing, let me know. I'll go back to doing it the other way. It's not going to hurt my feelings. We also need to know what half of that 3/8 is as well, which is 3/16. We already have measurement for that. Ta-da! The 4.7625 by 12.7. So let's start with our little square. We need 3/16, which is 4.7625 by 12.7. Okay. So essentially what we have is half of your 1 inch and also half of your 3/8. What we can do from here is we can go to this little mirror tool right here. It's a beautiful little mirror tool. You know what? Let's back up a sec. There is a tolerance on your 3D printer. And it varies from 3D printer to 3D printer, and also it varies through the filament that you're using. There's a lot of variations to it. And if you look at any light switch cover, it seems like the centerpiece where the switch comes through is really tight. All right. And because it's tight, you want to give it a little bit of breathing room, right? So what we can do is come and click on mirror. Oh, okay, that's because we're still clicked on mirror. Never mind. We can come and click on here and say, you know what? We want it to be 5.25. And it adjusts it just a hair. All right. And same way with this, we're just going to say 13. We'll just make it 13. Just to give it a little bit of wiggle room, right? It doesn't have to be perfect. And if it's too small, you can always cut it out later with whatever tools that you're using, or, it's just, this is my thought process on it. All right. So let's go to mirror, right? We're going to click the two sides that we want to mirror. It's going to ask you for a mirror line, right? So now we need to select mirror line, which we want this to mirror this way. Boom. Draws it like this. We're going to copy that, except this time we want it to say all of these I want you to mirror it along this line. Boom. Now, we're going to keep all these lines in the middle. We're not going to erase them yet. But this is where your actual switch for your light will come through the cover. All right. Now that those are done, we also need to figure out where these holes are, right? I think this is where the calculator comes into play. All right, so it's 2 3/8 apart from here to here. One thing we can do is split 2 3/8 in half to figure out where this is in correlation to that middle line that we drew, right? Because half of this will go from here to here, and then, you know, multiply that by 2, it'll go from here to here, from here to here. All right, it's just finding out how far away it is from the center line by dividing this number by half. All right, since we already have 2 3/8, which is 60.325, that's where the calculator comes in. We're just going to say 60.325 divided by 2. All right. So we're just going to make a little note here. 16.25. Wow. All right. Let's get rid of you. So 30.1625. Start drawing a circle. The circle needs to be, it's a 3/16 hole, which is 4 point. Actually, it's another one of those things that can be adjusted. We're just going to say 5. Since the number we're looking for is 4.7625, we're going to give it a little bit of breathing room. We're just going to, you know, round up to 5. All right. Now the distance from here to here, that's one that I really wouldn't play with very much. All right. As far as adjusting it to like the nearest number, because that pretty much needs, that hole needs to be pretty much right at 30.1625. One way we can get this, or the way we can get that distance, is by sketching dimensions right here at the top. We're going to click on our circle and we're going to click on this line. This new line's going to pop up. Once we click, it's going to ask us how far away is this hole from this line. That's where we type in 30.1625. And when we hit enter, you'll see the circle move. Boom. All right. Now that we have that, the mirror side to that, just, hey, that, I need you to mirror it along this line. And you see that little dot pop up. Oh, great. Well, at least it gave us a little circle, a little place to show, hey, it goes there. Say, hey, 5. Ta-da. Now, if you wanted to make sure you're in the right directions, remember it's supposed to be 60.325. Hit that sketch dimensions, hit the circle, hit this circle. Well, hold on, because we just wanted to see what number pops up on it. And if you notice, it says 60.325, which is how far we needed it apart. So this is good. Now, technically, this is kind of done. We have everything. We have everything drawn out that needs to be drawn out. It's 4.5 by 2 3/4. These are 2 3/8 apart. And we kind of made this a little bit larger to make room, but it's also in the center of the light switch like we need it to be. Awesome. Now we can use the trim tool, which you can just click T for trim, or you can come up here and click it, doesn't matter, and come in and kind of get rid of some of the lines we don't need. All right, getting rid of that line. Let's see, let's zoom in here, get rid of these lines, just kind of clean it up a little bit. Makes everything a little bit easier to work with. Ta-da. Okay. We can also make the dimensions go away. Now we have kind of like a clean area to work with. All right, so the next thing that I want to do is I want to insert a picture. Let's see, insert canvas. From my computer, I've got all these pictures that I've gone on, you know, looking for silhouettes. You can find a lot of these. As far as selling your designs, you are basically not allowed to sell these items, all right? Because you are not the original artist. But what you can do is make fan art and give fan art away for free. You just can't sell it. But I'm going to click on this Pikachu design right here. And we want to drop it in right here. Now that we have the Pikachu design done, I want to blow it up. Sit here and grab this little guy right here, start blowing it up. That might be a little too big. All right, see, this part you just have to kind of play with and get roughly where you want it to be. It's okay if some of these kind of poke out. See how this line kind of sticks out further than the Pikachu does? That's fine. And it's fine because, well, like I said before, when people install light switch covers, there's a hole, and that hole will basically be right in here somewhere. If it sticks out further than your light plate cover, you had a crappy guy come in, or whoever came in and did it, didn't do a very good job. But granted, if they did do that, you could always make your light switch cover a little bit bigger to cover up that hole. But if it sticks out a little bit, that's perfectly okay. And I kind of like the way this is kind of sitting. Let's see if I can bring it up just a little bit. Down. I don't want it to be super massive. You can sit here and spend all dang day doing this. But anyway, it's pretty close. I like the way it looks. We're just going to hit enter. And now we have this nice little canvas. One thing we probably could have done before we got to this point is draw another box. Okay? And this box is going to be representative of... It's going to represent your... how much room... on your 3D printer you actually have to work with. You can look, just type in the internet, you know, the dimensions of your 3D printer, or the build dimensions, and it should tell you. For me, I'm using the Ender 3 Pro and Pro V2. I've got two of them. They're both the same at 220 millimeters by 220 millimeters. All right. So now we just say 220 by 220, and as long as, like, now that, go ahead and drop it, you can tell the ear kind of sticks up a little bit here, so you just kind of move it. The ear is in place. It fits all within, this whole picture fits within my build plate, therefore you should be able to build it. All right. Now that we've confirmed we can print it, now it's time to start going over the outline of this Pikachu. We can do that in two different ways. We can do a fit point spline, or we can do a 3-point arc. Honestly, they both work. You can even use the line tool. We're just gonna go get a little bit artsy with it and kind of go over all these pieces. So I'm gonna start with a 3-point arc. We're just gonna find a place, any place to start is totally fine. And we're gonna start drawing. It is good to note at this point that it doesn't have to be perfect, okay? We're not looking for perfection here. Because as long as you get like see how far like we're zoomed into it, the 3D printer is not going to pick up a lot of that. It's going to do the best it can, but as long as you have I'll just show you all this white stuff we have poking out. It's not following along here. Well, let me show you what I'm talking about when I get done with this and we move this the picture out of the way, and you can judge for yourself whether or not it's close enough. Can you tell what I drew? And if you think it looks super messed up, I mean, I'm just gonna leave that on you. See, I don't like the way this jerks back up. It's too high. Back it up just a little bit. You can get away with a little bit. Now, I wouldn't try to push your limits on what you can get away with. And a lot of it, I mean, it's point and click. Oh, this is a slow process. It's just really hard to kind of talk through this because it is really repetitive. I enjoy it personally, but trying to find the words to, say while going through here is kind of weird. This is normally when I'll just insert music or, so that I'm not just randomly saying bull crap. What I can say, I guess, is something to point out. I haven't been doing this for a long time. A lot of people are complimenting me on my work and kind of wondering how I do this stuff. I'm not a professional, man. It's just a hobby that I wanted to get into so that I can turn everyday items into something that's unique. I mean, how many Pikachu light switch covers have you seen? And the fact that I can come through and make stuff like this, it really, I don't know. It makes me feel good about myself in a way. And I hope whenever you guys do your own designs that you're proud of your accomplishments and the things that you're able to do, And I really hope that by following along with this video that you're able to accomplish, you're able to build things and feel good about yourself. That's basically the whole reason I started a YouTube video or YouTube channel for this. I want to give all the knowledge that I have, I want to give out freely. Granted, it would be nice if I had a little bit of was able to do this actually full time instead of welding, because welding is hot and it sucks. Okay. Okay. We also need to come through and draw this little tail. I think the tail would look real nice when it's all said and done. So we're gonna hit the L button to make a line. You also have a line tool here, since these are straight edges pretty much. And now that this is a curve, we want to go back to our 3-point arc. Sometimes it takes a minute for it to load what you just did. Boink. All right. And look, like I said earlier, I don't necessarily follow the lines exactly, right? But even though I didn't follow the lines exactly, let me remove the canvas and you tell me what it looks like. Looks like a Pikachu. All right. So now that we've done that, what I can do is remove some of these lines from the light switch cover itself. Oh, let me take it a step back. All right. For like a little a trick. Before we even get to the point of dropping a canvas on like this Pikachu, once we get done building this light switch cover, that would be a good time to save your project as a light switch cover base. Okay? With you having that as its own little project, once you get done with your canvas drawing your Pikachu out, and you've printed it and you save that as a Pikachu light switch cover, then you're able to just click on or open up your light switch cover base and you can start right there, so you don't have to redraw your light switch cover. All right, moving on. Let's go ahead and remove some of these extra lines. Like so. So now Pikachu has become your light switch. All right. Let's remove the canvas. This is what it looks like now. You have your Pikachu. You have the holes where the screws are going to go into. And you have this hole right here where the light switch is going to come through. I like what I see. It fits inside of our build plate on your 3D printer. So before we go any further, we need to click this show profile. All right. And this is why. Somewhere along this picture, because it's all lit up. Okay, like this. This is a square and it's an enclosed square. So you can extrude just the square right here. But because the Pikachu and the surrounding area is all blue, that means there is an opening somewhere. All right. And it is... We have to find out where the hole is. Waka waka. And you may run across this problem yourself. Hey, there it is. Right here. Okay. A little trick then. Now that I know where it's at. A little trick for you guys. Take this line tool, since you have this giant box around, and draw down the center. All right. By doing that, it says, okay, all of this is closed. But this is open. See how it bleeds, the purple bleeds into the rest of the picture. Then you can take your another little, since you know it's on this side, take your line tool, go from here to here. This is all enclosed. This is open. So now, since this is all open, we know that it's only in this part of the picture that it's opened. All right, and then, I mean, you could take that a little bit further. Right, if you just cannot find it, the hole's real small. It's not showing a half. Oh, there's a halfway point. Well, obviously it's within there, duh. It's not showing a halfway point. Anyway, make your own halfway point. Click, drag it over, click. This is closed, this is open. So it's open, or the opening is in this area along this line. So that's one way to go about figuring out where exactly, you know, your opening is. So we're just going to Control Z to remove those lines. And we're just gonna kind of remedy this. Kind of look at the picture itself. Maybe pop the canvas back on. And let's say, okay, click this line, hit delete. Hit the Z button to for your 3-point arc. Let's turn the canvas back on real quick. Ka-chow. All right. Ta-da! Now our profile, show profile. Profile is showing that there is no openings anywhere. It's not bleeding out into this, right? And I think we are officially ready. Let's hit finish sketch. All right. Now that we're here, what we're going to do is come up here to the extrude button, okay? The extrude button, I'm pretty sure, carries through whatever CAD program that you're using. All right, and we're gonna hit this Pikachu. Because we want this Pikachu, extruding takes it from a 2D point of view into a 3D point of view. We're gonna add depth to it now. Basically, extruding means adding depth or taking away depth. For this, we're adding. So we clicked our Pikachu. I know from building these things before that they're roughly about 5 millimeters deep. Okay. Boom. All right. Hit enter on it. This is what you're looking at. Now we can look. It's 5 millimeters deep. Looks real good. Look on the top view again. All right, so from the top view, we're looking straight down on top of Pikachu. We can flip it around to the bottom view. Now we're looking at the underside of Pikachu. Let's see, how do we want to go from here? If you've ever looked at the back side of a light switch before, this part it's not a solid block that goes over it. There's actually depth to it, or there's a almost like a suck back, if you will. That sounds bad. I don't know how else to explain it, but there's this isn't a solid piece. That's what I'm trying to say. It's almost hollow. So to do this, we're going to look at our sketch again. Actually, we need to go back into our sketch mode. So what we can do is hit the sketch here and say we're going to edit the sketch. Rotate. Flip it back onto the top. I'm going to show you how to do this, my bad. What we can do is offset, because I want to make a rim around the outside of this Pikachu. And I'm going to make a rim around these holes here too, and I'll show you what that's for later. So let's say offset. This might take a little bit of finagling. It did not take any finagling. We don't want the offset to go on the outside. We want the offset to go on the inside. So instead of saying 1 millimeter, we're going to go -1. Now the offset's on the inside. Now what this is going to do is it's going to make like a rim around the entire structure. All right. And with this offset position, we need to tell it how big we want that rim to be. All right. So we say 2 millimeter rim all the way around it, the inside. And I like it. So we're going to say, that's what we're going to go with. All right. 2 millimeter rim. Offset. We're going to go here. It needs to be a -2. Ka-chow. We're also going to offset this. No, it only lets me do 1. Fine. I'm going to say 2. Offset this guy. 2. I do believe this is just a hole. All right, that's all that's going to be. So now that we have a rim, we're going to finish sketch. Cool. Now we need to extrude it. If you notice, we can't click on the Pikachu. There's a reason for that. When we extruded the Pikachu, we told it to go up 5 millimeters. So our sketch is now on the bottom of the Pikachu. Watch what happens when we flip it upside down. Now we can extrude. We're looking at the bottom side, which is good. The bottom side of the Pikachu, we need it to be hollow. So this kind of works in our favor a little bit. So we're going to click. We're going to do what's called a cut. Okay. Now that we have this clicked, we're going to specify how far we want it to go inward. Remember that it's 5 millimeters tall. So if we cut, we can't go any further than 5 millimeters, or it's called a hole at that point. So what we're going to say is like 3 millimeters. Let's go like, you can even go half, like 2.5, but I'm going to go 3. Or 3. And it's set to, it automatically set it to cut. All right. So we're going to cut it. Now when we look at Pikachu, there is a rim. Let's turn off sketches. Now there's a beautiful little rim that goes on. And this also cuts down on the amount of time it's going to take to print. It's going to save you on materials because it's not filling this whole thing in. And trust me, if this rim wasn't here, your light switch cover is going to actually sit off the wall a couple of millimeters. And it still will as long as these guys right here are poking out. You're just gonna have to trust me on this one, guys. All right, so we're gonna click this and this. And I want it to go down 2 millimeters. No, not up. Oh. Well, I decided to click on all of it. Just want that, and I want that. I want you to go -2. Okay. Maybe not even 2. -1.5. All right. We're just going to drop them down just a hair. All right. So that they're still there. The bolt has something to sit on where it's not squishing this plate up against the wall, but it's got something to sit on that's nice. All right. So one more thing, because I mean, this is pretty much done. This is the bottom side of it. This is the top side of it. Top side's nice and flat. One more thing that we can do is use this fillet tool here. Right? And we can just give it a little bit of a roundness to it. See how it puts this nice little rounded edge on? That'll save you a little bit of material, a little bit of time, and it just kind of softens everything up. If 1 millimeter is too much for your fancy, you can just say, hey, I just wanted a 0.5 millimeter. Cool, I like it. Also, another thing that needs to be done. It's not gonna let me do it. Anyway, this Pikachu is pretty much done. All right, and then the only thing left to do is to come up here to this file, come down to 3D print. You want to click on the object you want to 3D print. If you haven't had it, if this is your first time using it, you'll have to set up where you want it to go. You'll hit custom, say, hey, I want all my 3D prints to go to your slicing program. Mine is Cura. Use whatever you want, really. This isn't really a Cura tutorial, but whatevs. We're going to look to see how it is going to look on a, 3D printer. And because we drew that big box, the 220 by 220, it should, in theory, fit. All right. First thing I'm noticing, it doesn't fit. Okay. Which is fine, because it looks like it just needs to be rotated just a hair. And then now that it's rotated, we're going to move it. Ta-da. All right. Now, if you remember, the bottom side has that rim, right? Which means when it goes to print, it's going to screw this all up. So we're going to kill two birds with one stone here. That problem being the first bird. The second bird is whenever you're 3D printing things, whatever side you want to be smooth needs to be the side that's that's directly on the bed. All right. So by flipping this Pikachu upside down and putting the face of this light switch cover against the plate, that's going to be the smoothest part of your entire print. All right. Which is cool because like the back side of the print, it's going to be up against the wall. If there's any imperfections on it, you'll never notice, right? Nobody will ever notice that crap unless they take the Pikachu off the wall. So what we're going to do is we're going to say, hey, I want to rotate it. Flip. Flip. Now we have to move it again. Another thing that we probably need to do is rotate it. Flip. Boink. Move it. Move it. Why aren't you sitting? This part you might have to play with a little bit. Let's figure out what the hell's going on. Down. Boink. Figure out why the hell it's being a jerk. There you go. There you go. Now it's auto setting it down on the table. Okay, you just have to play with it a little bit. Do one last look over. We have the rim here. The face is against the plate, which is excellent. All right. It doesn't need supports, because there's really nothing to support. It doesn't need any kind of brim. It doesn't need to be super high quality. Infill, it doesn't need much infill. So we're going to hit the slice and we're going to look at it on a preview. It's 25 layers thick. This is how your first layer is going to play out. And then we can just walk the layers up. And now, see, the first, what is it? The first 10 layers is all Pikachu actually is. Right? Then the last 15 layers that it would have to print out the entire Pikachu is all just this rim. That's it. So it won't take hardly any time at all because it's not taking all that time to fill in all this crap here. It's just a way to save time, save money, save printing time. But anyway, so like I said, this is the thought process on doing it. This was just a Pikachu. You can do literally whatever you want, and I have a couple of designs I've already done. I'll, you know, show you guys. I'd probably drop it on the Thingiverse page if you don't feel like copying the steps to make your own. If there is a design that this is just, you know, too hard for you guys, or you know, you want to see me do another one, just leave it in the comment section. The top comment that I get, I'll look for it and I'll make a video and, you know, do it for you guys and set it on Thingiverse so that you can just, you know, download it yourself. All right, well, that was the step-by-step, my thought process whenever I'm building things. I hope you guys enjoyed, and we'll see you on the next one.